Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to the progress report for February 2025. We're just about halfway through the month, and I've already had a couple weeks with these inks, so I've given them the grades, and I have to say it's a straight A report card. Some are A plus and some are A. I have been so happy with the pen, nib, and ink combinations this month. I really picked them good, I think. So we'll go over the report card first, but don't worry, I've got each of the tiles and each of the pens, and we'll get into the ink journal, the specific entries next. But I always forget to do this part if I don't do it right up front. So the first one was a TWSBI Eco Tea in Rosso with a broad nib with Tom's Studio Strawberry Jam. And I gave it an A+. It's a lovely ink. It's a beautiful red. It flows really nicely. And I just love the way it looks in that pen. I'll show you the pen in a minute. But and then I've got, it's so funny how I ended up with two TWSBI Eco Teas. They're the only, I think, well, maybe I have three because someone sent me one. But I've only purchased two of these. And this is the TWSBI Eco Tea and Eggplant with a broad nib, and Tom's Studio Iris, another A+. I really love how this ink performs. It's just gorgeous. Two pen friends, pen friend AW and pen friend CS, sent me a total of 17 samples of the Tom's Studio inks, and I'm doing 4 this month, and I'm going to do more next month. They're just excellent. So then next we have one of the Diamine Inkvent inks in the Benu Sceptor. Benu Sceptor 1 with a broad nib. It's Diamine Grotto, and it's got a beautiful sheen, and I gave that an A+ too. It's super fun. I like how it looks when you get it on the page. When I finish my pen pal letters and tilt them, I see all that sheen, and it just makes me kind of smile. It shows up better than shimmer, so there you have it. But okay, then the next one is the little Jinhao 82. It's a plain pink one with silver trim, and it's got a broad Opus 88 nib. And this is Diamine Winterberry, and it's a shimmer ink. This was also from the Diamine Inkvent 2024. And I gave it an A. It would have gotten a higher rank because I do like the color, but the shimmer was hit and miss with this combination. I don't know why, but it was. And of course that could be operator error too, not agitating it enough. But and you know, an A is still a good grade. It means that I really liked it. And then next is the Benu Talisman with the Sakura Cherry Blossom finish with a broad nib and Colorverse Brinicles. And this is really pretty. Writing with it for a couple weeks though, it's lighter than maybe I would like. You know, for me, that's all. And on Tomoe River, but I think I liked it better on Graphilo paper. We'll take a look on the samples. And then next is the Jinhao 82. This is the fancier one. I say that because it's not a single color. It's got a two-tone with a gold finish. It looks almost like a real sailor, but it isn't. And it's got a Fude nib, and I really love it. I put Diamine Fruit Cocktail in it, and I gave it an A. I think it's a little bit... the ink is a little flowy for a Fude nib, and yet I still like it. I just think I haven't really had a chance yet to put just a broad nib into it. It won't be hard, but I've got them all in use right now. You know, I can screw the nib unit out and back in with a broad nib real easily, but both of those Jinhao 82 nibs and feeds are in use, so that's okay. I've been writing pen pal letters with it, and I like it. So the paper I'm using, Graphilo, and also CVS Caliber, it doesn't bleed through. So it's lucky that it doesn't. Because I had some feedback from a pen friend Marilyn that it was bleeding through everything they were writing on. And I think it's just the paper, the specific paper I'm using, that I didn't get that problem this time. So next up was a Lamy Safari in Light Rose with a broad nib. And Tom's Studio Raspberry Sorbet. I'm going to do a full ink panel. I've got a whole bunch of them to show you why I like this one. It's no wonder I like this one. It fits in with some of my very favorites. So we'll do a whole panel. And I gave it an A+. It's just one of my absolute favorite colors, period. And then when you combine that with the fact that it's just got that beautiful flow, and I love the color, and then I always have loved Lamy broad nibs. They're my favorite Lamy nibs. Okay, but we'll save the best for last here. And then the Jinhao X750 Pink that I use every Valentine's, every February with a broad nib. I put Levenger Pinkly. That's my go-to bright pink ink. And then once that's done, I have a little bottle of Diamine Hope Pink. But I gave that an A+ too. It's great. The whole combination, you know, I love this pen. And the nib is, let's see, what have I got on there? Oh, well, this is a Yo-Oh nib. Sometimes I have a Goulet nib on it. And they're made by the same company, but this one is tuned over there in Australia, was done by Pensive Pens. And it was special, so. Okay, next, last but not least, the Jinhao 82, the little ivory one with a broad nib, and Tom's Studio Emerald. I really love this green, and it played well with a lot of these colors. It looked pretty on the page with some of these others. So I gave it an A+. It was excellent color, flow, and super pretty. And that's a Goulet number 5 broad nib. So let's just, I guess what we'll do, we'll continue on in here, and then we'll go into, I put the Tom Studio ones in a separate booklet, but whoops, there goes a bunch of scrap paper. But it's fine. They'll be out of order a little bit. I may have to scramble for my tiles, but that's okay. I think we'll be okay. So we'll just, okay, and this was just possibly for comparison later on. So we'll just kind of ignore that for now. And we'll concentrate on this. So this first one is, grab the right pen. And also, yeah, like I said, I'll be grappling a little bit for the correct ink tiles. But this is Diamine Grotto in the Benu Sceptor 1. And I love this. Look at what it does when you get a water brush. It's such a beautiful, pretty, you know, it kind of looks red to my eye until you get the water brush lifting it out. And then you're dealing with pink. And it's so pretty. I love it. I'm not sure whether I can show you the sheen or not. It's going to be really hard probably to see. We may be able to, but it's not my favorite to try that because it just doesn't seem to work too good. But I see the sheen, which looks kind of I guess it's green, but I see it sparkly, kind of, yeah, it's greenish gold. And I really like that. It really lights me up when I see that. Plus, this is a really pretty pen and unusual. It kind of looks like cosmetics instead of a pen, but it's fun to write with. It's fun to look at all that sparkle when you're writing. So, okay, so that's that first one. And then next up, see what we got here, is the little pink one with Diamine Winterberry. And this is a shimmer ink. Let's see if we can show that a little bit at least. Oh, my eyes don't pick up much because I'm trying to look up over the camera. Hopefully you've got everything in the frame here. But this is a really nice little combination. I was going to see a couple of these I already had to refill. Okay, so I'm almost done with the fill. It doesn't surprise me. I had to re-dip the last pen, the emerald, the green one, because even just to do the grade, I was out of ink, and I am trying to clean some pens, so I didn't want to completely refill. But this one, I'm going to make it probably with this, at least a couple more days. And yeah, it was one of my top 3 from the ink vent, and it's gorgeous. Now, the water brush lifting is not astonishing, but it does give you some pink. It's not as dramatic as this one by any means, but it's still pretty. I would have liked the shimmer to show up a little better, but that's just something that it varies, and it depends on how I agitate it each time, and it depends on all kinds of factors. So I can't really fault the ink for it. You know, there's a lot of operator user error involved, I'm sure. Okay, so next up is the Benu Talisman Sakura Cherry Blossoms, which this pen is growing and growing on me. I love it. I'm thinking that I'm going to enjoy it best with a magenta ink that only picks up on these tiny little, you know, the blossoms that are in there, or the little sparklies, but that's okay. I like this color too. This is Colorverse Brinicles. But I tend to like a darker turquoise, like Kianit du Nepal or Navajo turquoise, which I think is way darker than this. It could still go in here, of course, but this is a nice broad nib. And it's beautiful. Again, I didn't get the kind of water brush activation that I love the best, but it works. It just not. It's like not exciting, but but it's a nice flowing one, and I like it for writing. Okay, I think I made a mistake here underneath, so I used a piece of Graphilo paper for this one, just to go on the top of it. And this is the little Jinhao 82 with a Fude nib. I don't want to really remove this nib, but I could because it does just, the nib unit screws in and out, but eventually I'll put a broad nib in it. I really want to see how this fruit cocktail, this is Diamine Fruit Cocktail from the ink vent, how it does with the broad nib. I said that probably 100 times. No pizzazz at all with the water brush, except up here on the Graphilo paper in the outline, that was quite a bit more than what I got down here. I did it the same way. I got just slight spread there, but not really, or not much, because that's already a wide, this is already a wide line, so. Yeah, it doesn't move around a lot for me with the water brush, but anyway, I still like it a lot. It's a happy color, and as long as it doesn't bleed through, I'm okay with it. If it does, then I don't enjoy it as much, so I'll have to watch out how it does on other papers. Okay, so next up is the Jinhao X750 with Levenger Pinkly, my favorite bright pink. Which is right kind of in line with Hope Pink, but there's something special about this one. I need to look at them side by side one of these days. It's just bright, cheerful, neon pink, and I just love it. And I did get a good activation with the water brush. I'd say, maybe not an A+, but a solid B+ or an A. It does lift the ink a little bit, and so it's really, really pretty. But it's just the writing is just so nice and happy with that one. Let's see. Okay, so then I think what we're going to do now, we're going to go into the other. This was 68 GSM Tomoe River paper in an old Bond Travel Gear, old stock, yeah. They're now Lockbee, and they make them in the booklet style. So, but we're going to go into the Graphilo because that's where I have the Tom Studio inks. Let's see. Okay, so I've got the landing page of all the ones that I'm doing, and I'm making little check marks. So I've got 4 that I've done this month. So we're going to see if we can find where and these are the other 3 that are coming up. And here we go. Let's see. Okay, so this was strawberry jam, and we got just a little bit of seepage, but I gotta tell you, that's really good for paper. This paper is some really special paper. So it's Tom Studio strawberry jam, and I have it in that TWSBI Eco Tea Rosso, which this is one of my favorite pens. I really like it because the color is just gorgeous, and it's got a wonderful, nice broad TWSBI nib. Now, they do vary a little bit, so because I've had so many, I can say that for sure. They do. But this is just gorgeous, and I love the way the water brush picks up, and it's just a happy color. Sometimes I see it as red-orange, this color. I'm wondering why, but anyway, it's awfully pretty. It had a real straightforward chromatography down here. I didn't see anything that, that was all that unique or different, but it's just a flowy, nice red ink. And the splatter, oh my goodness, the splatters are so much fun. I just think they're really fun. And, of course, we've got some sheen because it's so heavy on there. That's the reason why we have that. It's not really, I'm not seeing sheen in my writing. Although I see some shading. Maybe not to write home about, but... And then next is the beautiful Tom Studio Iris in the... this is my newest pen right now. It's a TWSBI Eco Tea Eggplant with a broad nib that I got with Christmas money where, it was a gift certificate to Goulet pens, and I got it. I just, yeah, I like this color a lot. In fact, I may like this even better than the transparent purple. But I have, I think, a medium nib in one of my transparent purples. Yeah, so it's nice to have this in a broad nib because it'll be good for letter writing. I got medium water brush activation with it. It was, you could see here, maybe a little bit prettier here. You know, it's just an outline, putting it down really heavy, the water. But it's just such a pretty purple. And I want to do some comparisons with the purples too, but this time I really wanted to do the raspberry comparison panel, so that's what we'll be doing. But anyway, I've really enjoyed this. You can probably tell. I really like it. So then next up, let's see. Oh, I see that we did get seepage from the emerald, and you know, from the other page where I splattered emerald. One thing, I probably put it on too heavy, but the other thing is this has been very flowy. I had it feathering and stuff on certain papers, so I'm watching that ink to see if it's just me or what. But anyway, we'll concentrate on this side. Tom's Studio Raspberry Sorbet, and I have it in this lovely Lamy Safari, and it is the light rose with a broad nib. And I love this. This is just excellent. I mean, it's really, really nice. I wasn't blown away by the water brush stuff, but it's okay because it makes up for it in the nib. I get really pretty shading. And I could kind of predict that from this splatter here. That's really nice. Just really nice. This is my favorite of the Tom Studio so far. But it doesn't surprise me because it's that magenta, fuchsia, you know. It's right in my orbit that I really, really, really like. So I'm going to make sure to make this real obnoxious so I don't forget to go back to the panel because we still have, I think, one more ink. Yeah, we've got one more. So the last but not least is the Tom Studio Emerald Green. And I put it in this little Jinhao 82 Ivory with a broad, let's see. That's a Goulet Pens nib. I've been super happy with this. Really, really happy with it. Whoops. In fact, like I said, I had to dip it back in the sample just to finish writing the report card because I felt like I have so many that I like. I'd like to write more of them dry. And this one's basically dry. Just whatever I put on the feed this morning to do the report card. So this is gorgeous. But I did see it kind of... It defied the paper, which nothing really does. But as you can see, it doesn't ruin anything. You can just see it a lot. Like that is what I'd call seepage. It's not just ghosting. It's ghosting on this part, but here it's definitely seepage. But who does that? Only us people that really like to splatter ink. And I got better than average water brush activity with this one. That's nice. So I could tell it's putting down a lot of ink, you know, it's flowy. It's very, there's a technical term, but I can't think of it. And then here, really nice too. That's a nice chromatography. It's got kind of, it definitely doesn't have water resistance, but it's definitely going up into light green and then into like a blue. So just really pretty. Okay, so now I'd like to set up a color panel with this is the color that I chose for the cover, the Tom Studio Raspberry Sorbet. We'll look at a whole bunch of comparison inks for that, and I think it'll help you see where it falls. If you have other inks from this, then you'll see how it compares. Okay, I had so many. I put the little cat here so that would remind us this is our ink that we're, you know, basing the comparison on. And I right away when I pulled out, I have two more, but we'll do that after because one of these is not really very close. And the other one is sort of it was a quick run that I think they don't have anymore. But anyway, we'll look at these first. But look how much similar it is to Noodler's King Requiem. King Philip Requiem. And no wonder I love it, but you don't have the problem with the super permanence that stains things. You know, it's not the same level. I I don't give you a guarantee that this one won't stain something, but it's not going to be like this, because this definitely is more less water resistant, and it is just really typical and pretty. And then when I saw how close it was to Diamine Deep Magenta, I realized, oh yeah, no wonder I love it. And then also Noodler's Sakura Wine is so pretty. I have a pen friend that writes a lot with that ink, and I was trying to think, I thought I had it, but no, it's Cactus Fruit Eel maybe that I have, and that one didn't come up here. Let's see. I really want to see a comparison. Let's see if we can find it. It might be worth our while. And unless I'm losing it, I thought that it was close. Okay, there's Hissy Fit. Huh. Well, shoot. I should have done this before, but why am I not finding it? Huh. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to be toward the pinks. I could be way out of line of my memory. Huh. Oh dear, I don't like these kind of lags, but... Oh, double raspberry. I hadn't actually compared that one. There may be a whole nother area in my... Oh, this is really maddening. I may have to go get the whole box. Why wouldn't that come out? Huh. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go get my box and see what's going on. Oh my, I'm feeling very stubborn today. So I went and got a paintbrush. I didn't finish it, but yeah, because I was thinking why I couldn't find the tile anywhere, and I couldn't find the coloring entry either. So in all of this, it's not there. I don't know what's going on. I was looking to see, is it right in front of me and I'm not seeing it? But no, this is Noodler's Cactus Fruit Eel. And I have a bottle of it now, and it's close. I'm wondering what it'll look like when it dries, though. But it wasn't because I didn't have it here because it didn't match. I just didn't have the tile, so I don't know what's going on. Okay, anyway, too bad, because that is going to end up being, at least in a comparison, maybe there's more red in it or something. But I really like how it compares with these others. Anyway, so it's never going to be comprehensive because I don't have every ink there is. I used to be naive enough to think that I might get close or something, but no. Okay, so these other two, this was Van S Hissy Fit, another of my real favorites. It's almost gone, I think. If not, it may be gone now, because it was a little 30 ml bottle. And it was one of those limited from Van S that they produced, and then when it was gone, it was gone. Now, Aurora Purple is brighter, so it really doesn't compare the same, even though that's another one that I think is really, really pretty. So I thought you might enjoy this panel because it shows you where it ends up, you know, with some of the more, you know, you might be familiar with Diamine Deep Magenta, or Gratitude Magenta seems darker. You know, but you have to get them in a nib, and I would imagine that these here are pretty close in a nib, because they certainly come across apples to apples as very similar. So, D. atramentis, okay, I can't pronounce it, but this is an older tile. I'm wondering, I had that sample a long time ago, so I don't have the ink anymore, but okay. Well, that was fun. I think... Yeah, we did the report card. So I think we're ready to go over and gossip in the library. I'll meet you over there. Okay, I'm over in my little library room. And I think I mentioned that I was shooting this on February 13th. The actual technical middle of the month is February 14th. But tomorrow we have some plans on Valentine's Day. We're really hoping to get some fish and have a nice little get-together and go do some work also. And you know, it's all top secret. But anyway, hopefully the other person won't watch this. Anyway, I brought over the two pens I've been reaching for first when I'm writing letters this month. Really first is this one, the TWSBI Eco T. That, you know, it has a different shape. It has more of a 3 shape instead of the the TWSBI Eco Regular is a little different, but I love how it feels in my hand, and I love the purple finish of the Eggplant one. This is going to be a favorite, I can tell. And then the other one is this, you know, the blingy one, the Benu Sceptor one. I like this. It's got the broad nib on it. Came, I think, with a fine nib, but I switch it around on that other little Benu that I have. And speaking of Benus, that's probably my one piece of gossip in my own personal pen world that I can share with you, is that I did order a Benu Pixie, a little pocket pen by Benu, and I think the wait is almost over for those. I think they're coming around March 1st, so I'm kind of excited about that. So it's kind of early in the year to be adding a pen. I thought, well, will this be the last pen? I don't know. You know, I listened to Fountain Pen Therapy, and Vincent over there, I butcher his name, so I just try to make it into the American version of his name, I guess. He talked in some of his videos about having a last pen or an exit plan for spending, you know, for acquiring in the fountain pen. And I thought to myself, maybe the little Benu Pixie will be the last pen. I can't remember the name of the finish, but it's kind of got like magenta and white, and it's really pretty. It's ice something, I can't remember. I'll put it in the description box if I can remember. So that is an excitement. I might as well admit I'm excited about that little pen. I'm excited about being able to share it with you too and review it. It's supposed to be cartridge pen, and that's the only thing that sort of concerns me just a little bit, is that I'd rather have a converter, but I'm thinking, I'm not sure, but maybe it can be eyedroppered. Because that, you know, that's kind of how I deal with my Kaweco, the plastic ones, the sports. I end up eyedroppering those quite often. I can get by for just a little bit with the converter, but they're so tiny they don't hold much. But I will admit, a standard cartridge holds enough ink, and I can get around my problems with. I like how it, you know, by filling with a converter, you know, I like to stick it right down in the ink and fill it up, and that way it's nice and saturated and ready to write with right away. But if I'm using bottled ink anyway in a syringe, I can still stick the nib and feed in the bottle and get it going. So, you know, I don't like to wait for ink flow or anything. That sounds terrible. So I had just a couple of little topics, not very many, written down just to chat about, because that's what makes it, I guess, more, you know, I don't know, it gives us more things to chat about in the comments and connecting as a community and stuff. But I'm chasing some knowledge right now. I'm trying to learn a little bit more so that my food storage can be a little bit longer term. I've always kind of done between 1 month and 3 months. You know, I'm pretty good stocker prepper, but not, you know, for a longer term. And there are certain things I want to be able to do, which I just got done watching a video on dry canning beans and rice, and I detected several things I haven't been doing. Anyway, so I've got my jars and I'm all set, but now I'm realizing that I was cutting some corners, and which would be just fine if you're using up your items before, you know, the expiration on the package, I think, you know. But if I'm going to expect and have a longer amount of beans and rice stored, then I don't want to kill us, basically. I don't want to cause any problems. So that's what I've been studying. I can't begin to talk about it because I am, you know, I don't want to get anyone else in what I was doing was just, I wash and keep little 2-cup salsa jars, and I put my beans in there, and I've been doing that for years, but I know that I'm using them up within a year. So that's when I thought, oh, I got, you know, Manuel got me 2 cases of canning jars, and I thought, you know, I really ought to just check in and see how people do this. Yeah, that would have been nice. That's a good idea to do the research. So I was doing that, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So that's what I've been up to a little bit. And so now I have my rice in the freezer and freezing out any kind of critters or whatever. And now I have my next steps in mind. So enough about that. Okay. So the other thing that's been on my mind, and I know people have asked how my mom's doing, and she's really doing pretty good. It's still a little bit uncertain, but she's where she's been, and she's not going to have to move immediately. And we're hoping that it can be, you know, that things will go well enough that she can be there even longer. But at the same time, you know, I've always been a realist, and so I've been trying to come up with kind of an alternate plan. You know, living in Texas and having mom in Vermont is just really frustrating because I'm the one that has the flexible schedule. I'm not going to say I don't have a life just because I don't have a paid job outside the home. I do. I very much do have a life. But I'm the one of us 2 children. There's just the 2 of us who could, you know, like pinch hit and go on appointments. But obviously, from Texas, that's impossible. And but I'm exploring, like I'm trying to open my mind to, you know, what I might need to do and the preparations we could make in case she needs to come and stay with us. And so I know that sounds super drastic and slightly unhinged, maybe even crazy, but I don't think it is, because there's too much uncertainty in funding and in the different programs, and what's going to happen when, and timing, and no one really knows. And as far as uncertainty goes, I think we as people don't really admit how much uncertainty there is anyway, all the time. But, and I certainly am not going to, like, visualize that outcome. I know she wants to stay in Vermont, and I hope she can, and I hope it works out just really smoothly. We've had such angels, you know, there where she is, that have been helping, you know, earth angels, people, you know, who I have seen have really, really become like family and helpful to us. And so I think that's something we can be super grateful for. But anyway, it has been kind of like, I've been thinking about things like ramps. We used to have a ramp, but we don't have one anymore. And mom is not in a wheelchair, but definitely a balance and using a walker, you're not, the steps are a problem, you know. So things like that. And I have all kinds of equipment that I have left over from the past, and also I've used at times. You know, bedside commode. Hello, Coco. He says, "What are you talking about, Mommy? Is Grandma coming?" Oh, he'd love that. I don't think my mom has ever lived with a cat, so oh my goodness. We have to train Grandma because cats are not trainable. Okay, never mind. But anyway, so I think it gives me more peace and more, you know, kind of ability to cope if I have plans and understand what I would need to do and what the priority items would be to be completely ready for that kind of transition if it needed to happen, you know. And to be quite frank, I really believe that Vermont has a better, like, social safety net for elderly people, and their Choices for Care program is just excellent. But there's a lot of focus now on doing that from home, and so you can't have everyone who lives in the home working, though. You have to have a person that would be there, you know, because it becomes 24/7. So anyway, that's probably more than I need to say, but it will help you see where some of my bandwidth is going to, and my thoughts and everything. And your prayers are so welcome. I know a lot of people, a lot of pen friends have, you know, kept mom in their thoughts and prayers, whatever your style is, and I appreciate that, because, you know, things have really gone well. There's been some improvements and some, like, really good things that have happened recently, and that have led to her being okay to be there for at least for maybe a few more months. And we'll see beyond that, there might be a chance for a reevaluation. So, okay. And then I wrote down Valentine's and cats. Oh, I already talked about Valentine's plan. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and we were sort of, you know, making that little loose plans to get some fish. I think we're already thinking about Lent, but it's not here yet. So, because Mendel asked me what, it was his plan to get us something special and take to where we're going, and you know, with another person, and I said we could get fish, because even though it's not Lent yet, so that's kind of fun. Cats. Well, I got one looking at me like he's hungry, and one sleeping here in this chair, and the other one was right on top of the pen desk. Toby has been watching Coco, and he's been getting up on the pen desk. Like, I'll go to get a water, or I'll get up to take my break from writing letters, and Toby will be right on top of a letter. And that's what Coco's always done since he was like, you know, this high. So it's so funny, because, you know, Toby needs a lot more interaction, and he's used to being outside. So this is like his 3rd week. It's getting close to being 3 full weeks that he's been in, and we've not looked back. So anyway, oh, there was just one more thing. And like, okay, so I don't want to make it political. I just want to say, I have had the question, how can you make happy pen videos at a time like this? And all I want to say is that I'm always concerned with how things are, and probably never have been more concerned than I am right now. But if we don't have positive things to focus on, and happy, you know, hobbies and things like that, I'm not sure what would become of me if I didn't have my books and my writing, and now, you know, it's funny, because I'm kind of getting back into crystals, and I have a little bit of interest too in well, I've always had crystal cards. It's like a deck, but I've never really had the interest in oracle cards until just recently. So I now have my very first deck of oracle cards, and they are Moonology, the original deck. It's Yasmin something. I can't remember her name. Anyway, I'm all into Izzy Spencer. She wrote Lunar Abundance, and I like that book a lot. But this deck is really special. It was given to me in person by someone that said it was just going to be perfect for me here, you know, in my local real life, or whatever you want to call it. And so I'm having a lot of fun with that. Where was I? What was I? Okay. This is the way my brain works. It's like a spinner, and I don't know. But so I'm not saying I've been heavily criticized, but there is a question of how can a content creator continue talking about, you know, fun things when the Titanic is, you know, whatever, sinking. Well, that's, you know, that's a really good question. I am not in any way knowledgeable enough to talk about politics. I've been studying history. I've been studying lots of things, and yet I'm just a baby in this. I wish that I had been more knowledgeable. I feel I'm on the right side of history, and how I voted, and what I wanted, and yet there's a vision, an even higher vision than anything I've seen yet, you know, in my country. So, you know, I was looking back, and I thought, wow, I was in the Air Force during some presidencies that were really interesting. In fact, I got out of the Air Force at a time when I didn't agree, 1991. Boy, that was an interesting time too, because I had a boss, and I'm sure he's long gone by now, because he was much, much, much older than me. And he did not think women belonged in the military, and he would say it at every chance. And I still remember what happened. Okay, I love stories, but this is a true story. I was pregnant with my son, and my doctor gave me 2 weeks of maternity leave. And when I came to deliver the papers to the captain, which was like the office adjacent to where my supervisor, this senior master sergeant that did not like women in the military, he had a fit, the senior master sergeant. He was like, oh my God, this is why women just cannot be in the military. Now, they knew I was going to have a baby and that I was going to have maternity leave. You know, it was not something, It was so obvious. It was not something that couldn't have been planned for. But I had the baby the next day. I was like, shit, man, I would have been really nice to have those 2 weeks, because I worked extra. I worked harder to prove to him that I belonged there and that I could do the job. So, you know, it wasn't much longer. It wasn't much longer before I departed ways with the Air Force, but not, you know, the whole Air Force experience was not that one boss, but oh my goodness, you know, yeah, like, yeah. And so some of the most talented, most creative, and some of your greatest workers just take their feet and walk right away. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say. I don't think it's wrong of me not to do political videos, because I would be like me trying to teach you farming or teach you canning or talk about something that I don't fully understand. So that's my thing. But you know, I'm open to discussions, and I'm open to understanding things better. And I hate it when there's this feeling of, oops, can't talk about that ever at all, you know. But that's the way it can be sometimes, and that's okay with me too. I'm scrambling to learn enough and to understand enough and to can beans and rice. And, you know, I've always been a prepper, because it makes common sense, because we've had times when we didn't have enough work, or work changed suddenly, and unexpected things can always happen. So I feel like you don't go wrong when you prepare for harder times. But I'm not a complete alarmist, but I'm certainly not liking everything I'm seeing. Well, I like everything I'm seeing in my world, in my home, and in my family. But okay, that's enough. That's too much. Too much. I'll watch this and see whether it's appropriate for all viewers, and it's okay though. I don't mind if I lose people. You know, it's okay. It's okay, because people don't have to agree with me on anything, and they don't have to be here. This is totally optional. It's totally for entertainment purposes, you know, and fun, and sharing the hobby. So that's what I want to focus on. It does spill out over the edges sometimes. It always spills out in the books I read. So, I mean, you know, it's not ever going to be like, I wonder, you know, I wonder about Chris, you know. No, you can tell. You know, you could tell. So I'll leave it at that, and hopefully it, you know, haven't offended anyone, but I'm okay with offending people if that's what happens. That's not my intention. So my intention is to be here and be happy, and spread some enthusiasm for this wonderful hobby that I just thank God every day that I found this. And I found it at a very hard time in my life, shortly after my dad's death. And so it's always going to be special. You know, I found bullet journaling, and right after that I found fountain pens, and it's made such a difference. It's brought me a whole community of friends and pen pals and people and companies, little companies that do such great things. So, you know me, I never can press stop on the videos. I'll see you next time. Let's meet in the comments and talk about pens and inks and canning rice and beans. I don't know, whatever. So, see you later. Bye. Take care and stay safe.